I mean, Tom, it was almost like they'd each joined a cult. And that sacrifice involved cutting out all sense of criticism, anyone who disagreed with them, family members who challenged them, and they just have each other.
Well, it's all about how they're going to make their money and fame and fortune. It has nothing to do with the truth. I mean, those three programmes were really suffering. After the second one, I really felt quite sick. It was an exercise of self-harm. And so to watch it, you really felt in the end, I'm really punishing myself. Yeah. You're like Goebbels of the Third Reich. Netflix succeeded in sort of Stalinist propaganda and making you wash your hands and ask yourself all the time, is this true? Of course it's not true. We're being brainwashed by these Hollywood people who think this is the way to make money and, in the end, destroy our monarchy to make their fortune.
There are, of course, some specific attacks, Tom, including this one on the Prince and Princess of Wales. Watch. They're not even trying to hide it anymore, are they? They hate William and Kate. They're jealous of William and Kate. And this particular incident, I mean, it was the first time they'd ever met. What did she expect? Kate to run in and give her a huge hug?
But was it even true? I mean, you've got to ask yourself, no, probably not. And this is from a woman who attacks her father mercilessly in the series, a man who she abandoned for months to the media and now presents her mother, Doria, speaking for the first time, telling outright lies about her ex-husband. I mean, this was a calculated attempt against the families. I mean, the one thing that Samantha Markle always predicted was, just like Meghan turned against our family, she'll get Harry to do the same. And that was an exercise of doing that. And it was shocking of Harry to sit there and let his wife attack Kate, who'd been so good to him, who was his friend. And what would Diana think of Harry attacking William in that way? She'd be appalled by her son's behaviour. And that was, again, so nauseating, the way he kept on bringing in Diana. Diana, who appealed to the media all the time, who phoned journalists secretly, who brought Martin Bashir into her office, who cooperated with Andrew Morton, who kept on calling Richard Kay. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Well, Meghan herself.
And Meghan herself.
In the months before she met Harry, was setting up paparazzi pictures in London. She now acts as if the paparazzi are literally the devil incarnate.
She begged the paparazzi to photograph her, and they wouldn't. And when they did, she says, oh, I don't want to, I'm hurt. And that ridiculous story about how they first met, the whole thing was a tissue of inaccuracies, to be polite.
Well, because what do you make of that? Because, as you know, Harry was always very insistent in 2017, telling the BBC it was a blind date. All of a sudden, there's a completely new story that they met via Instagram. So
when Meghan Markle and Prince Harry launched their Netflix docuseries, they promised the world the truth. But instead, the result left many, even seasoned royal commentators, absolutely nauseated. Tonight, we dive deep into what Tom Bower and Dan Wootton called one of the most manipulative and self-serving royal productions ever seen. From selective storytelling to emotional blackmail, this series has drawn outrage across the board, and maybe, just maybe, confirmed everything critics have warned about. From the very first frame, it's clear. This wasn't a documentary. It was a rebranding campaign. Netflix gave Meghan and Harry the perfect stage to rewrite their narrative, and they did, with cinematic precision and emotional manipulation. Tom Bower didn't mince words when he said it felt nauseating to watch two people born into immense privilege, playing the eternal victims. And he's right. Every frame feels crafted to polish the Sussex image while quietly dismantling the monarchy. Dan Wootton went even further, calling it a 6-hour therapy session broadcast to millions. Except this time, the therapist is Netflix and the diagnosis is fame addiction. Let's call it what it is. This series wasn't about truth or reconciliation. It was a direct assault on the royal family's credibility. From the suggestion that the palace fed lies to the media, to the not-so-subtle implication that Meghan was targeted for her race, every episode seemed designed to chip away at the institution's dignity while elevating the Sussexes as moral heroes.
What are we meant to believe?
But not only that, can you really believe that photograph of Meghan wearing a droopy, snoopy nose and things somehow said, oh, that's the woman for me? It's ridiculous. I mean, it was calculated to undermine my book. Because, of course, I got the real story that he got a blind date and was called up and all that. And she And this is the other thing, which is one of the many, many lies she tells, that she arrived in London, full career, single girl, wasn't interested. Of course, she'd been coming to London since 2013, hunting for a man to marry. Yes. She wanted an Englishman. She was on a manhunt.
And she also wanted a famous.
And she wanted a famous. And she arrived in London immediately when she went to Wimbledon, talked to the woman she was working for, and said, "You know Harry, can you arrange a blind date?" And the woman did. The whole thing is a tissue of lies. And Netflix knows it's untrue. And that is what's so shocking, that those executives in Hollywood are plotting to destroy the monarchy because they just see money in that, as do, of course, the Sussexes.
Shame on them. There was one really shocking moment, Tom, and this has been going viral throughout today, because I think it was one of the only moments, actually, where you got a sense of cracks starting to show between Harry and Meghan. So this is when Meghan really mocked our culture and the fact that she had to curtsy in front of the late Queen the first time she met.
Tom Bower argued that the couple's bitterness runs so deep, they've turned their pain into profit. And he's not wrong. Netflix didn't buy a story. They bought vengeance wrapped in royal branding. Remember when Meghan and Harry said they wanted privacy? Now we have 6 hours of their personal lives, private footage and home videos, all streamed globally. Privacy for sale, to the highest bidder. Bower called it delusional theater. And that's exactly what it feels like. The couple blames the media for invading their space, yet they hand Netflix the keys to their living room. Even supporters found it hard to defend. As one critic noted, they complain about being chased, then hire a camera crew to follow them. The contradictions are endless and the world has noticed. One of the most chilling observations came from Dan Wootton himself, that Meghan and Harry use emotion not to connect but to control. Every tear, every sigh, every photo of Diana's memory feels engineered to elicit sympathy and guilt.
She's taking the piss out of the Queen.
Taking the piss. And worse than that, lying, because there's no way. In her original description of the curtsy, it was a small curtsy in Windsor Park. The idea that she bent down like that is just ludicrous. But, you know, she's hamming it up. She's a third-rate actress. She can't do proper acting, even. So that's why she's doing it. Really, Dan, what was the worst part, really, is not that in the program. It was that they cast every white man and woman in Britain as racist. Everyone is racist.
And every Brexit voter is racist.
Is doubly racist. And somehow, that is what really stank. I mean, going on and on about the racism of the tabloids, but only one example, one sentence on an online thing, but no other examples, and then go on and on that we're all, if we've got a white skin, we're clearly racist. I found that a very objectionable.
Well, indeed, Tom, and actually, the only specific example of racism that Meghan ever recalled in her own life was a despicable example where her mother, Doria, was called the N-word. That happened in Los Angeles,
exactly,
where Meghan was born. And by the way, also, all of the paparazzi pursuits of Harry and Meghan took place in either the US or Canada. None in the UK where they had protection.
And not only that, it was never people who were employed, it was always freelancers. But Meghan's father, Thomas, told me explicitly throughout her childhood, throughout her life, even into Hollywood, she never experienced any racism. She never came home saying, I've been in any way targeted. There's that one example where she had to tick a box to describe her race.
But it's ridiculous,
and that was it.
Isn't it, to suggest that the US is some sort of a place of racial harmony, and then you come over to the UK, the most tolerant country in the world, and that's when you discover racism.
The whole thing was right.
Tom, I've got to ask you, next week is looking like that's where the real grenades are going to be thrown at the royal family. I mean, we've got a bit of it today, there was a hint of it, but next week is when we get to Megxit and all the really contentious issues that you've obviously written about. What's King Charles going to do about this, and what do you think he should do about it?
Well, I fear that King Charles doesn't like confrontation. He doesn't want to take a stand against his son. And at the moment, he's thinking of doing nothing. But I don't think that can be sustained. He's got to take a lead. And I think the people of this country, the monarchists, will say, this has now got to end. Whether he says it or whether William, Prince of Wales, actually says the truth, that we welcomed Meghan. She is the one who dictated her departure. She's the one who's declared war, has got to be decided. But it's got to be decided this week. And the courtiers in Buckingham Palace have got to start thinking pretty hard how to protect not only Britain, but also our monarchy and our global reputation, because believe me, this Netflix series is going to do huge damage to Britain's reputation.
Tom Bower went further, saying Meghan has mastered the art of weaponized vulnerability. It's a powerful tool, one that turns criticism into cruelty and accountability into persecution. This isn't storytelling, it's stagecraft. And while audiences may feel pity in the moment, the long-term effect is fatigue. People are tired of the drama, tired of the grievances, and tired of being emotionally blackmailed. Even within Hollywood, the tide is turning. Insiders say the couple's endless self-promotion has made them more pariahs than pioneers. Bower predicts that the Netflix series may go down as a defining moment, the one that finally exposed the Sussex strategy for what it is: exploitation disguised as enlightenment. Meanwhile, the monarchy, battered but steady, continues to stand. Because while the Sussexes sell pain, the crown represents permanence. And in the long run, stability always outlasts spectacle. Tom Bower called it nauseating, and after watching the series, it's hard to disagree. What began as a story of love and liberation has spiraled into a global PR war, and the public's patience is wearing thin. The question now is simple. Was this a documentary, or a declaration of war against the very institution that made them famous? What do you think? Was the Netflix series a brave confession or a carefully staged manipulation? Drop your thoughts below. Subscribe for fearless royal commentary and untold truths behind the crown. Because in the House of Windsor, no story ever really ends.